anyways, yeah, let's get started with bar. The setup is the mats and a chair or something that you can balance with. And then music if you want to play it. And then water. So this will be a 45-minute class. We're going to start with lower body work, and do some upper body work, and then some abdominals. Okay, so let's start with our warm-up. Feet together, heels together, toes apart. This is our first position. Ballet bar inspired. So inhale to reach up and exhale to reach over. Inhale to transition, exhale, side bends. Go as slow as you like. Wake up that body. I haven't had my coffee yet because I woke up, 45 minutes ago. Inhale, exhale. It's a nice big reach. Then that nice side bend stretch. You want to draw the abdominals in toward your spine. We're stretching the side of our body. You still want to think about length and good posture. Good. One more time to each side. Good. Step your feet out a little wider. And we're going to just do a little bit of a plie swing. Range of motion in your arms. A little range in your legs. Kind of drop and lift. Drop and lift. Basically kind of exhaling as I sweep the arms to the side, and a quick inhale as I drop. The important thing is to breathe and just alternating that breath. There's never really a wrong way to breathe. 2 more times each side. And last swing. So let's bring our feet back to first position and go into our plie. So a little knee bend, toes and knees align with the toes to the corners of the room. I'm adding a little bit of arm choreography just to get a total body warm up here. But feel free to leave your arms out of it and just focus on the legs. Here my chest is lifted, my shoulders are down and relaxed from my ears. I can lift my arm and also shrug my shoulders, but I don't want to shrug my shoulders, right? Okay, now we're going to go onto our toes. So for this, if it helps for balance, you can place a hand on the back of the chair, nice and gently with a few fingertips. Or if you want to work on your balance a little bit, just have your arms nice and wide. We're not on our toes for a very long time. And you can decide how high you want to lift. Throughout this class, you can modify the movements. You decide how low you want to bend into the squats, the plies, the lunges. You decide how high you want to lift the leg, if you want to keep your knees bent or straight. Good, we're going to do something that's called train. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the plie, then you're going to lift the heels, then you're going to straighten the legs, and then you're going to drop the heels. So it's a sequence of events. Let's not focus on the arms right now. Let's focus on the leg movement pattern. So knees bend, heels up, knees straighten, heels down. Knees, heels, knees, heels. If your legs are straight, then you have to bend it. If your heels are on the ground, you gotta lift it. If your knees are bent, you'll straighten it. If your heels are already lifted, you will lower it. 2 more cycles through. And again, use that back of the chair if you need it. We're not going to yank on that chair. We're just going to gently put a few fingers on. All right, let's go in the opposite direction. So we're going to lift up on the heel first, and then bend, heels down, legs straight. Up on the toes first. The most challenging position would be the knees bent, heels lifted position. Don't feel obligated to stay in that position very long, and if you need to skip that one, then skip it. Just go up and then drop your heels again as you bend your knees. Not a problem. One more time through. All right, let's open up our hips. I'm gonna come over to my chair, just lifting one leg. I'm gonna lift the outside leg to the corners of the room. So again, it's a hip opening movement. And let's get some motion in the arms. Whether or not your knee actually touches your elbow, that's not the main concern. It's just about engaging those hip flexors, engaging those abs, and trying to pull the knee up towards a target, which happens to be your elbows. We got 4 more. And then we're going to straighten the legs and straighten the arms. So you might not be able to lift as high. You're going to feel that hamstring stretch dynamically. Feel free to bend the knee a little bit if needed. Try not to use much momentum here, mostly the strength to lift the toes toward the fingertips. Maybe 4 more. All right, I'm going to do this on the other side. I'm just going to move my chair. If it's not convenient to move your chair, you can just turn around and face the back. I'm exhaling as I lift the leg, but again, as long as you're breathing, it's all good. Now let's try this. Legs straight. My hip is always tighter on this side on this leg. Just be aware of any asymmetries in your body. In a perfect world, we would have equal strength in the legs on each side, equal flexibility, range of motion, but it just doesn't happen. Four more. Trying to do my best to count. Okay, so we're gonna sort of do a sort of a kickboxing inspired thing here. Not all moves gonna look like kickboxing, but some of them will. So the first thing we're gonna do, I'll just stay on this side for now. The first thing we're gonna do is get into, I think this is 5th position. I can't remember. Basically, you hide one leg behind the other. So my toe of my back leg is kind of right behind the heel of the front leg. That's the side view. And you can have a little space distance, and it's a very little curtsy. Right, this is the kind of curtsy you do if you were in a skirt, versus like a curtsy lunge where you really pull the legs apart. So we're going to go into a curtsy plie, and then into a leg lift. Curtsy plie, leg lift. Now, when you do a curtsy plie, most likely your back heel is going to come off the ground, right? Because of the way you're positioning your legs. Oh, sorry, got my leg straight there. And then if you feel comfortable to go into a deeper curtsy, so let me just show you the side view here. You don't have to turn, but to go further back, which means you can bend lower. So if you put your foot right behind the other, you can't go too low because then the knees are going to shoot past the toes, and that's not going to feel great for your knees. But the further back you go, the more range of motion you'll have so that the knees don't shoot past the toes. So I'd like for you to decide how far you'd like to step back or how deep of a curtsy lunge you'd like to do. Let me show you the other aspect of this. So we're going to lift and lean. All right, so instead of pulling the leg and staying upright, I'm actually going to lean my body, and I'm going to lift my knee so it faces forward. I'm going to get my whole leg to about hip height. Let's try that again. Curtsy, lift, and lean. And there's a little bit of external rotation, right? Sorry, that's internal rotation. Just try it slow a couple times. And feel free to adjust your distance from the chair because we are adding that little lean. You're gonna get your whole body and arm a little closer to the chair. So you may want to just move to the side a couple inches. Curtsy. Chamber. Or curtsy. Prep for the kick. Let's just get this arm out of the way here. Or you can hold it out here. So let's add in the last phase of it. Lift here, extend. You should be able to see my kneecaps and my toes, all 5 of my toes. This is if my leg was externally rotated and my kneecaps facing more upwards, so internal rotation. Try that again. Curtsy, lift, extend, bend, and down. Curtsy, or curtsy lunge, I should say. Kick prep, chamber, extend, feel your quads engaged. Again, go at your own pace of this. Focus on the technique and not on the speed. I realize we all might be doing different number of reps, which is one of the reasons I don't count reps. But I want you to feel the muscles working. It's more important that you do this slowly to feel the muscles. Get the right technique. All right, so now that we have it down, let's do 8 more together, 8-ish. I am breathing in here, and then I'm exhaling here. So I'm breathing in to lunge down, and exhaling kick. If you find that you need to add in more breaths than the ones I'm coaching, of course feel free to do that. And my arm's a little fatigued here, just holding it up there. All right, let's do 4 more, and then we'll add some pulses. And the pulses we'll be adding will be in the low end, the lunge, and also in the fully extended end. Let's do 1 more here. Now go into your curtsy, and we're going to stay right here for 16. So your front leg, sort of your stabilizing leg, should also feel some sort of fatigue. It's not actively kicking, but it's doing a lot of stabilization. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now go ahead and prep for your kick. And I should have mentioned it sooner, the standing leg stays straight. Stays soft, not locked straight. So slight bend in the knee. Extend and lift. 16 of these. Try to extend the leg fully straight for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's try that again. And you can decide how low you want to go in this curtsy lunge. Knees and toes are aligned with each other still. We have external rotation at the hips. So both knees and toes are turned out. We're just staggering pattern. 4, 3, 2, 1. Chamber prep. And short little exhales. Final 8. Standing leg, slightly bent. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, it's time for the other side. Hopefully you felt your muscles working, your glutes, your outer thighs, even some inner thighs here with the curtsy lunge. So let's figure out our position. Let's do a few little plies here. So this is where my toe is right behind the heel. Brace, chest up, shoulders down, relax. And then just showing you the side view, to step it back and go a little more. Again, this looks like mumbo jumbo, but there is still a method to this madness. This is my turnouts, right? I basically just move one leg behind. It's still that same turnout. Knees and toes are still aligned with each other. And even further back, knees and toes align with each other. Just moving a little farther. Let's do a couple rounds of these, just like we did on the other side. And then you will add the leg lift, first without the internal rotation. So the leg lift initially looks like what we did in the warm-up. Knees are up and facing the corner. Decide how low you want to go. And now go ahead and try that. It's a roundhouse chamber. So my knees face forward and my entire leg is about hip height. And there is a little bit of a lean. This allows you to strike properly and also to counterbalance your leg. Because when your leg goes to one side, if your body doesn't lean to counterbalance it, you're going to really lose your balance. So typically you can do this without touching the chair at all, right? In kickboxing, you do it much faster, right? Because you're doing a kick strike. Here we're really breaking down and keeping it slow. So having this chair to balance is helpful. You want to work your arms, same as you did the other side. Good. And now let's add that extension. The chamber extends. Make sure those kneecaps are facing forward. Standing leg, knee is slightly bent. This is the retraction. And back to that first knee. Chamber, kick, retract, return. So normally in a kickboxing move, you don't actually lunge down before you kick. This is the fitness bar component. You just kick and put your foot back. Here we're just adding that lunge. And take your time with this. Focus on doing it really slowly, getting that technique down, and then that's our practice. Let's go ahead and do 8. 8 more, I should say. Inhale, exhale. Now let's feel your quads fire up. Like fully straighten that lifted leg here. Right? You should feel your quads engage the moment your leg is fully straight. By the way, usually when you kick someone, we're not training to kick anyone, but if you ever kick anyone, you usually can't extend your leg all the way because you'll have struck the target before you can fully extend your leg. All right, one more here. Inhale, exhale, and let's stay down for the pulse. So as low as you'd like to go. So basically just don't stand up all the way. So we keep the muscles loaded. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Extend the leg out on the kick. And then lift. Here you're going to feel your outer thighs. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to the curtsy. Last round. Chest up, abs engaged. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Doing our chamber first. Firing up the quads. Making sure our standing leg is slightly bent. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to switch sides again. Because standing leg is tired. And this time we're going to keep our feet in parallel. Still moving the outside leg. step back. You can do a partial step back. So just don't bend your knees too much, because again, the longer the stride, the deeper the bend. So if I step this far back, I can go a lot lower without my knees shooting past my toes. All right. Decide how far you want to go back. Go into your lunge. Lift the knee. This is the chamber. Lunge and lift. One more. Feet stay about hip distance apart. Knees and toes tracking in line with each other, all facing forward. Good. We're going to add the leg extension here. Lift, reach, retract, step it back, lunge, lift, straighten. Let me just show you from the side here. I don't want to kick the chair. You lunge, lift, extend, retract. Do about 4 more. This is a standing leg, and it will stay slightly bent. I know with our hamstring tightness, we might not be able to fully straighten our legs. That's okay. We're really going to squeeze the quads and try to do that. You should definitely feel a little bit of abs, especially when the leg is going forward. Resist the urge to round the spine as you extend the leg, or to have any tension in that shoulder area. All right, so let's do our pulses too, so you kind of know what's going to happen. We're going to go down for our lunge, stay low for 16. Again, you pick how low you want to go, the range you want to pulse. Find what challenges you without bothering any knees or hip joints. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go into our lift. Extend. This is going to be pretty challenging to the quads and hip flexors. Lift, lift. Stand tall through the top of the head. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's try that again. Back to our lunge. This is actually a nice hip flexor stretch, which is the exact opposite of what we just worked as we lift the leg forward. 8, 7, 6. All right, chamber up the knees. Rep, extend and lift. Eight, 7, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, you can see my leg progressively getting lower. As long as we're thinking about the up and trying to lift the highest we can, you're working the right muscles. All right, the other side here, let's just focus on the lunge for now, down and up. Figure out where your full range is and where, how far your stride length is. This back leg is a little hip flexor quad stretch, and you're working the glute of the front leg. Go ahead and add that chamber or the knee lift. Here, lunge back. So each leg is working within aligning to the hip, the respective hip. Finger just really gently on this chair here. You don't want to pull on the chair or rely on it for too much support. You're still very much aware of trying to maintain as much balance and not use the chair. Add the leg extension. Lift, exhale, reach, retract, lunge. Inhaling as I lunge down. Transition to the exhale here as I extend the leg forward. Find the breathing pattern that works for you. And keep breathing. About 3 more here. And take your time. You can always go slower than me. I say try not to go faster than me. Not about speed. It's never about speed. A kickboxing class, yes, but not an A kickboxing inspired barre class. All right, we're going down for the lunge pulses. Pick your stride length, pick your depth, and keep that range of motion to about 2 inches max. Chest up, good posture, great spine alignment. 4, 3, 2, 1, prepping, extending. I'll just turn a little bit sideways here. Lift. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Second time around and final time around. Feeling very grounded here. Reaching that back knee downwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, the same knee, same leg, gonna reach up. Keep lifting. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna transition to some upper body moves. If you don't need your chair anymore, this is a great time to grab a drink and just get rid of your chair if it's either way. I know our legs are pretty fatigued. I sometimes like to incorporate some legs with the arms, but if your legs are very fatigued, I don't know why I stood like that. If your legs are very fatigued, then just keep a slight bend in your knees and don't do anything with your legs, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do is slightly bend the knees, hinge at the hips, keep that spine straight, palms to the back of the room, or behind you basically, and we're gonna push, push. If there's an object behind us, our arms are gonna stay straight, activate those triceps to push. If you have dumbbells that are 1, 2, 3 pounds max, you can hold on to the dumbbells and use them. The reason I'm demonstrating that dumbbells is if you don't have it, I want to demonstrate that you really don't need it to activate the muscles. Although you do have to really think about the muscles, to concentrate and sort of use your imagination as to what you're doing. Pushing an object behind you and upwards. There's a lot of repetitions, there's going to be some pulsing. This is how you fatigue muscle groups when you don't have a really heavy weight. Now, if you had anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds, there's no way you're going to be doing this many reps, right? Like your muscle would fatigue sooner. You probably also have a greater range of motion. So it's just about knowing body mechanics and how you can still get a great effective body weight exercise if you don't have equipment at home. All right, stand on up. Biceps. Again, if we're just flopping our arms around, you're not really going to feel much. You have to hold your elbow in position close to your body, and you want to imagine that there is something heavy in your arms and you're resisting. Like if someone ever said, flex for me, show me your biceps, that kind of motion, you want to just engage your arms. That's a great way of getting in touch with your muscles. If someone hands you, a 10-pound weight, yeah, your muscles usually kick into gear. I mean, it just responds to the weight, which is why weight training is so effective for muscle development. But beyond that is you being aware of what muscle groups are on your body and how to activate it properly in the absence of a heavy weight. I'm going to have you reach out and pull in. Like you have cookies on your hands and you're handing it out to people. Want a cookie? Want a cookie? One thing I did during this pandemic was collect recipes. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make banana bread and chocolate chip cookies and this and that. And then I didn't do any of that. Ultimately, I just got really lazy about buying the ingredients and then actually doing it. All right, bring it to the front. Serve your cookies, your non-existent cookies that you never baked, to the front. So this is kind of a pull, push, pull. I feel my shoulder blades squeezing together. And then I'm engaging my shoulder muscles to reach it forward. A little bit of biceps. Now, we don't really talk about leg kicks, so giving your leg a break, but take your feet about hip distance apart. Drop your butt back. Tilt your spine forward, but keep it straight. Change it to a row. So this is a row. If you had dumbbells, you hold the dumbbells. This is a reverse row because your palms are facing up. So that's the profile view from the front. My feet are a hip distance apart. And now I'm going to change it to a wide row. So imagine you flip the grip. Or feeling it across the upper back. Feel your shoulder blades slide toward the spine. Every time you pull your elbows up and back and wide, as wide as you can to the side. It's kind of like you're doing push-ups, except the focus is on the pulling, not on the pushing. So have the endurance in your abdominals and spine muscles to maintain this neutral tilted spine position. It's a lot more work than when your spine is vertical. All right, great for strengthening the lower back. And you want to definitely make sure you're not rounded like this. Lift that tailbone, lift that chest. All right, so remember this motion here in a little bit when we do push-ups on the floor. All right, stand on up, arms straight to the side, a slight bend in the elbows. And I'm making very, very small circles. You don't have to go super fast. So, circles about the size of a small line, I guess. And I'm gonna bring some wide squats into this. We spent the entire bar portion working on lunges, so just gonna bring some squats here. So feet really, really wide. I'm gonna open up the hips. Keep the arms circling as you bend the knees, keeping the knees and toes aligned with each other. Go into your widest plie, and then slowly stand back up. Yeah, some coordination here. We're lowering and lifting the legs, but keeping the circular pattern going. I know you might not be thinking about this, but I want you to gently squeeze your shoulder blades together. Yeah, so it really helps with keep the chest lifted. Okay, now I want you to turn your palms up and circle the other direction, just for variety. And if you want to skip these squats, skip the squats. Heck, if you want to skip the arms and everything, you can skip anything. This entire workout's optional. You're here because you want to be. Remember, I cannot force you to do anything you don't want to do. And also just listen to your body. It's like close to 90 degrees today here in Cambridge, so hope your AC is on. Not sure what it's like on the West Coast. All right. Let's finish there. Hopefully, felt in the shoulders. And we are going to go do some push-ups. And then once we're on the ground, we're going to segue into our abdominals, sort of our Pilates portion. Now, push-ups, hands are generally wider for the chest push-ups. Hands are right under the shoulders for the tricep push-up. We're going to do a combination of both. We're going to go through both. Let me show you the options for push-ups.
kneeling, so your knees are right under your hips, like a quadruped position. Lower your chest, it's about elbow heights. And same thing for your triceps. You can stay on in your kneeling position. Then you have your knee option. So you gotta lower your hips a little bit. A little more weight felt in the arms in this version. And then finally on your toes. Okay? We're gonna do 8 push-ups, 8 wide, and then followed by 8 triceps. Actually, we'll take a break in between. All right, so pick your position, and you can change. So you can start on your toes for 4 and end on your knees for 4. Inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Inhale, exhale. Brace the abs. No matter what position you're in, your abs are gonna be nice and braced. One more here. All right, good. So pause for a moment, shake out the wrists. So we're gonna do our triceps, which kind of wraps up our arm sequence. You know, we're in a plank sort of, so we're also like working our abs already. I'm gonna do these in my kneeling position. So my wrists are underneath my shoulders to start. As I bend my elbows towards my hips, I keep it really close and tight to my rib cage. My forehead is going to get really close to the floor, just ahead of my fingertips. So notice my butt starts over my knees and then it kind of shifts forward a little bit, keeping my spine nice and straight. Inhale on the way down, exhale to press up. Keep squeezing those elbows in nice and tight. Give me 2 more. Good. Hopefully you felt your triceps pretty intensively there. If you move your butt back, you won't feel as much. It's going to be more of a stretch. Go ahead and take a little stretch here. Then come forward and lay on your stomach. We're trying to maintain a neutral spine position this entire day so far. And so now we're going to go into extension. So that's basically arching the back. If you lift the right arm, left leg, or any opposite pair, and try to keep your chest lift as much as possible and then switch. This is working on our posture muscles. Look at the floor, a gentle nodding of the chin to protect the neck, and keep that head and neck aligned with spine. The opposing pairs at the same time, legs nice and straight, arms nice and straight. Reach to the corners of the mat. Don't be afraid to go too wide. Definitely don't need the arms and legs directly in front and back. Keep alternating the breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last pair. Good. Go ahead and flip over onto your back. Ooh. This is neutral spine. We're flat on the floor. We just did spine extension, therefore the opposite, spine flexion. Head, neck, and shoulder blades are going to come off the floor as we reach towards our kneecaps. We're going to tuck the chin and keep the keep the head and neck protected. Eye gaze on your knees. This is your basic crunch. Your lower back is inferences. When I start doing more leg lifts and other variations, feel free to always come back to this basic crunch. If your neck gets a little fatigued, place those hands behind the head, support the neck without pulling on it. Right? The hands are not there to yank on the neck or head. It's there to support the neck. All right, I'm going to have you straighten the front leg. If you're mirroring me, the leg closer to me. And we're going to continue to crunch. Again, if this somehow feels any strain to the lower back, you can keep both knees bent and both legs still. Good, one more. Push legs. What's going to get fatigued is your rectus abdominis. Squeeze those quadriceps, those legs nice and straight. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Good, so let's give our abs, the rectus abdominis a little break. And the way you break is just by keeping the head, neck, and shoulders on the floor. Tap the toes out. Knees are at 90 degrees, what we call tabletop. And we lower. You can lower one at a time like this. Or you can constantly switch, switch, switch. It's a little more challenging when you do the constant switch because it means your legs are bypassing each other at a slant here. And that's the challenge. But if you lift a leg and then lower and then lift, you always have one leg in base position right over the hips. And that kind of helps your spine maintain imprint. So either version works. This allows us to work our abdominal muscles in neutral position. Or imprinted, but basically not flexed, not a flexed spine. There are many different ways of working your abs. If you always do crunches, you're always targeting the rectus abdominis, but you want to do stuff like the plank and other forms of abdominals so that you're hitting all your muscle groups. So we're going to do our obliques now. So now my front leg is straight again. I'm going to have the same side leg, the front arm behind the head, and the back arm, similar to the front leg, is extended. You can bring the elbows together, or if you like, straight limbs. There's rotation here, so we're hitting the obliques. Still hitting the rectus abdominis though, because we're still doing spine flexion. Make sure that front shoulder blade comes off the ground. Sometimes people just roll to the side and the shoulder blades stay on the ground. Get both shoulder blades off the ground, especially the front one. Maybe 4 more. You can do either version. You can do this bent knee, bent elbow version, or a straighter. Okay. Let's do the other side. Switch. So whatever version you did on the first side, go ahead and do on the second side. With both shoulder blades, turn towards the back leg. Front arm reaches towards the back leg. Last one here. Good. And roll yourself up. Give yourself a nice stretch forward. About coming to the end of the 45 minutes here. So do a little stretch here. I am going to do a plank to finish off this class. We sort of did a plank where we did push-ups, but this is going to be a full plank. You can do it on your elbows, or you can do it on your wrists. I'm going to show on my wrist. You want your feet hip distance apart. We're going to push and pull. So feel your calf muscles engage to push forward and feel your calf muscles stretch to pull back. This feels a lot on your wrists and do it on your elbows because basically we are decreasing the angle at the wrist, which can be a lot for some people. But look for that straight line from through the ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. You can't do this rocking motion on your knees. But I'd say that if the plank is challenging for you, to just lift your butt a little higher. And then as you progress, you get your butt to that straight line. Last 2, last 1. You all know I'm not really counting, I just say 2 more, 4 more. All right, thank you so much for joining. So do a quick stretch here. First a chest stretch. Good, and then reaching on up to a side bend. Taking like those nice, deep, slow breaths. Gonna stand on up, find your balance. Use the wall if you need to. Quadricep stretch for all the lunges and kicks and leg extensions we did.
See if you can find your balance here. With that same leg, reach it forward, hamstring. So what you want to do is hinge at the hip, really push your butt back and keep one leg straight. Put all your weight into your support leg. I lift my toes up and get a little calf stretch at the same time. Stretch the other leg. Heels and butt cheek. If this doesn't stretch your quads enough, you can just pull your leg straight behind you. Not out to the side, straight behind you, and it gets your hip flexors a little bit more as well as your quads. And let's get to the hamstrings. Thank you very much for joining me for Barre's Day. Feel free to mute yourself if you have any questions.